Okay, good afternoon, students.
Good afternoon.
Good
Good
afternoon, sir.
afternoon, sir.
Once again, I would like to welcome you in this English class. In grammar, today we will learn conditional sentences. So for this, let me share the book on my screen. Okay, so grammar. So in engage yourself, here it says study the following conditional sentences and put them in the correct box. So first, here are some examples given for us. So let's study these examples on your one. And then we will try to understand what conditional sentence actually is. Okay, if possible today we will try to cover all the types of conditional sentences. If not, we will finish conditional sentences type 0 and type 1. So let me read these sentences. If you hit ice, the first example, it melts. And then next one is, if traffic lights are red, the drivers stop their vehicles. You just see the structure of the sentences. Okay, the verb, subject verb, and okay, subject verb of the clauses given here. If I want to write a letter, I need a pen and paper. If I want to write a letter, I need a pen and paper. If you want to borrow a book from the library, show your library card. If you want to wake up early, set alarm on your clock or mobile. If I haven't got enough time today, I'll wash your car tomorrow. So all these sentences, if we see all these sentences, in each sentence, there are two clauses, isn't it? See, if we see the first one in A, if you hit ice, it melts. So it has two clauses. One is attached with if you hit, this is first clause, isn't it? And the next one is it melts, it is another clause. So the clause that is attached with if is known as if clause, and the next one is known as main clause. Here it melts is main clause. Okay, in the same way, if we see number B, if traffic lights are red, the drivers stop their vehicles. Okay, yeah, if traffic lights are red, so this part is if clause, and the drivers stop their vehicles. This is main clause. So in this way, in each conditional sentences, okay, in each conditional sentence there is two parts. Okay, there is two part. One known as if clause, and the another is known as main clause. See, and why they are called conditional sentence? Now this is what we have to understand. Only knowing examples are not enough. Why they are called conditional sentences? If we observe these sentences very carefully, what we find here is, in these two clauses, the result of the main clause is conditioned by the action of the if clause, isn't it? So just number A, just see, if you hit ice, it melts. When ice melts, only when it is heated, isn't it? Did you understand? See, this melting ice is totally conditioned by the action of if clause. Okay, this clause. If the condition of if clause is fulfilled, then only we will get the result of main clause. So that's why it is called conditional sentences. Did you get me? Once again, So conditional sentences are those sentences in which the result of main clause is achieved only after fulfilling the condition of if clause. See, in number B, if traffic lights are red, the drivers stop their vehicles. So when the drivers stop their vehicles, only then when there is traffic light red, isn't it? When this condition is fulfilled. Otherwise, they don't stop their vehicles. Drivers don't stop their vehicles. See, conditional sentences are these type of sentences where the result of main clause is conditioned by the action of the if clause. Because here in our book, type 0 and type 1 is categorized into single, only one, that is type 1. But actually, if we see grammar books, these conditional sentences are categorized into 4 types of sentences. So for that, now we will move on to a PPT file. I prepared a PPT file for conditional sentences. Okay, let me open PPT file. Okay, so conditional sentences or sentence, it's okay, no problem. You can call it whether conditional sentences or conditional sentence only. But don't forget, it is also called or known as if clause. Okay, if clause 2. Okay, now let's move on to zero type. Okay, zero type. See, so in zero conditional sentence, the structure is, you can see a structure a plus present simple, and then the main clause is also in present simple. So it means in zero conditional sentences, we use both clauses in simple present tense, or let's say present simple form. Just see the examples over here, given over here. See, the first one is, if people eat too much, they get fat. Just see the structure here, the clauses structure. Both the clauses are in simple present tense or present simple tense. See, subject plus B1 and subject plus B1. So E plus present simple means subject plus B1. Similarly, next one, if you touch a fire, you get burned. Okay, touch a fire, get burned. People die if they don't eat. People die if they don't eat. You get water if you mix hydrogen and oxygen. Similarly, snakes bite if they are scared. If babies are hungry, they cry. So in all these examples, we can see both the clauses are in present simple tense. Okay? If clause as well as the main clause. So this is known as type 0. So in type 0, we will generally use what kind of conditionals? The conditionals which always express the real and possible, or let's say facts and truths. So if you see, these examples, in all these examples, what we can find is, all these examples, these sentences talk about, real conditions, possible conditions, which is fact and truth. See, if people eat too much, they get fat. It's true, isn't it? And similarly, the last one, let's see, if babies are hungry, they cry. That is also fact, isn't it? So in zero type, always use present simple tense in both the clauses. Now, next one, possible structure is in zero type. Sometimes it can be kept in type 1, as I already told you, but I've kept here in 0 type. So here, if clause is in present simple, but main clause is in imperative. Okay, it is used in imperative. So if you want to win, play fair. So here, if clause and main clause is in imperative form. Play fair. So that is also possible. Study hard if you want to pass the exam. So dear students, please focus here. Okay, here the main clause is in imperative sentence. So what we understand from here is, if we are using 0 type, in 0 type, both the clauses are to be in present simple tense, and also, main clause can be in imperative form. Okay, so that's what I have described here in this description. See, we can make 0 conditional sentences with 2 simple present. So both should be simple present. Okay, one in the if clause and the one in the main clause. This conditional is used when the result will always happen. So when it is always true, when always possible. Just like here in example, if water reaches 100 degrees, it always boils. So it is fact. It always happens, isn't it? It always happens. So it's a fact. So I'm talking in general, but not about one particular situation. The result of the if clause is always the main clause. See here, the result of the main clause is always if clause. If clause is fulfilled, then we will get the result in the main clause. So this is the type first. Okay, students, don't forget. In type first, we use both the clauses in present simple tense, or we also can use imperative, main clause in the 0 type. Okay, now let's move on to next one. Now after 0 type, there is another type. Okay, that is type 1. Okay, also we can just call it the first conditional. Okay, so in this type, you just see the structure over here. Yeah, in this first type, if clause is in present simple, okay, if clause must be in present simple, but the main clause must be subject plus will or shall or can or may or must plus infinitive means B1 form. So this is the pattern or structure of conditional type first or 1. So examples I have added here. If it rains, I won't go to the park. If it rains, I won't go to the park. Please try to understand the condition here. Okay, and just see next one. If I study today, I will go to party tonight. Okay, and the third one, if I have enough money, I will buy some new shoes. Next one is, I shall play football if I get chance. So other examples as well. So these examples, expresses the possible situation, whether in the present or future. These are possible, isn't it? So type 1 conditional sentences express possible situation which is likely to happen. Okay, these are not impossible, these are possible. So in conditional type 1, see, if condition is always used in present simple, whereas if condition is used in future simple, or also we can add other modal verbs like can, may, must. That is also possible. So don't get confused. So this type 1 is used to express possible situations which is likely to happen now or even in the future. So this is second type. Okay, just you see the summary of the class today. So here in this slide, I've tried to show you the summary of these 2-3 structures that we learned so far. structure is, you know and here use and context. The structure here is E plus present simple plus present simple. This is type 0, isn't it? We called it type 0, in which both the clauses are in present simple tense. So it describes cause and effect. It means it talks about possible, okay, condition and probable result based on facts, real world, and about particular situation. See, this is a second one, okay. So this is, we call it type 1, okay, type 1. And the third one is E plus present simple plus imperative. So it is used to give suggestion and advice. So if we want to give, in conditional sentences, okay, suggestions and advice, we can use imperative as a main clause. So examples are given. If you kick the dog, it barks. So both are in simple present tense. Okay. If you heat the water, it evaporates. See, both the clauses are in simple present tense or present simple tense. These are facts and true, okay, and always, you know possible, always possible and real conditionals. Now next one is here, if he invites, she will come. Here if clause is in present simple tense, whereas the main clause is in future tense. See, so will come. Next one is, if you become late, you will miss the bus. So this is again type 1. Here, if clause is in present simple, whereas the next one is in future simple. Okay, future simple. And the last one is here, if you want to pass the exam, study well. If your mother calls, go home. So this is a kind of suggestions, let's say advice, okay, where imperative sentence is used. Okay.